Could you just give a brief summary as to why you coined the word Christic Covenant?
Yeah, well, the term Christic is anything having to do with Christocentric,
Right.
Christ at the center of it. The study of Christ is Christology. Christ at the center of the heart of the gospel is a Christic message,
Mm-hmm.
and the new covenant is some of the early church called, and some of the church fathers have called the Christic Covenant rather than the new covenant.
Okay.
In Jesus' day, of course, he was pushing out, shutting down, setting aside, bringing to an end, abolishing, pick whatever word you want to call, fulfilling the old covenant, the Mosaic law. And he was introducing a new concept, and it was definitely new to these guys. 1,300 years in the middle of the old covenant. Now all of a sudden he's bringing in a new covenant. And if you wanted to contrast the difference between the Mosaic law and the new covenant, you have the Christic covenant. I would say it's a difference between distance and separation, the Mosaic law, and union in Christ. Christ came to provide for us a new and living way. It's the heart of the entire what was wrapped up in "it is finished," and it said it's finished, and the veil tore. Hebrews tells us that veil was the veil of his flesh, whereby he opened up a new and living way for us to enter in and have access, no distance, no separation between us and God. And so where we find language to be revealing, I would say, is when you hear people talk, do they speak of their relationship with God from a posture of distance and separation or from a posture of union? Union changes everything. And I would say, and Eric, you vulnerably admitted, I would say I'm right there with you. I find places within my own languaging of the gospel where there is distance and separation language that still somehow creeps in. We sing songs like "This is the air I breathe," "This is the air I breathe," and then we go into "I'm desperate for you."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, my goodness, it's like I'm clamoring for, I'm trying to get closer to a God who lives in me. And I understand the heart of hunger behind some of those things is really beautiful. We need to have an appetite for the presence of God, no doubt about that. But there's a place of rest. I call it reconciled rest, that comes from a revelation of Christ in you, the hope of glory, being the heart, the mystery of the gospel, and that reality is not only available, but it's already happened. It's not like God's waiting to enter into us. He holds all things together, and he's actually, in him all things consist, and he holds all things together. So when we become aware that there is no, because of distance or separation, because of Christ, and we start, rather than trying to strive into it, surrender to the reality of it, it starts to shift and change everything about how we see God. And if we don't see him rightly, we won't know ourselves. We won't see ourselves rightly. So part of an understanding of identity is really getting an understanding of what covenant we're in. It's, I think, important to point out